We're live? All right, we are live. Shout out to some technical difficulties for making that more complicated than it needed to be. But today on DNVR Buffs Live, the Buffs have a new running back. They're in a new top 3, and we've got a new quote from Daddy Yormark. Let's get it. Let's go.
Squad.
Let's go, man. Coming to you live from the Toyota Lounge. Driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. It's DNVR Buffs Live. We made it. We're on the internet. We did it.
Yeah, it was a struggle. The internet was fighting against us.
They were not trying to see us be great, but we prevailed nonetheless.
As we always do.
That just makes us want to be great more.
Period.
Today on the show, CBS revealed their top wide receiver rooms in college football. Brett Yormark speaks on the college football playoff and revenue sharing. We'll talk more about Will Sheppard. Deacon Schmitt put out his top 3, the top recruit in Colorado. Scott's transfer list. Go check that out at thednvr.com. Go become a diehard. Scott put a lot of work into this. But we start today with Coach Prime, Marshall Faulk, and Colorado's running back room. Because if you watched Well Off yesterday, they were working out. They're running stadiums. And honestly, I saw Simeon Price run by, and it didn't even occur to me this is a new player because there's so many new faces that I was just like, I'll just learn these guys as the months go by at this point.
For sure.
But shout out to Gucci. He figured it out. He posted on Twitter that Simeon Price is the Buffs' new running back, former Coastal Carolina and Mississippi State running back. He spent 3 years at Mississippi State going back to 2021. Left after the 23 season, transferred into Coastal Carolina. He's an older player. He's a senior. He is a scholarship player, we believe at least. According to Adam Munster Tigers' eligibility chart, he was listed as a scholarship player. Last year at Coastal, though, what is this? 9 games he played in, 44 attempts, 136 yards. So, yeah, kind of a depth piece at this point. But with this running back room, who knows?
Yeah. What about at Mississippi State? Did he get much run?
He played in 24 games at Mississippi State.
Only 35 touches, 35 carries, and 15 receptions, it seems, though.
He ended up choosing Mississippi State. He had offers from Oklahoma, Tennessee out of high school. He was a top 100 recruit coming out of Florida from Pensacola down there in West Florida. So, like you mentioned, last year of eligibility, dude's coming here looking for an opportunity to play. And with a running back room that I would say has some uncertainty in terms of who's going to be kind of the lead back or maybe the top 2 or 3 guys. This is somebody who can be discounted in that race. 6 foot, 215 pounds. He had a really good pass protection grade according to Pro Football Focus last year,
which is interesting that you said that.
Which is important, right? This is something that we know this staff covets, and it's important for any passing game to have running backs who can add another level of protection. So if Simeon Price at the very least can do that, add that element to this backfield, so it's a solid add.
I was sitting there trying to think why they brought in Simeon Price, and obviously he could have some untapped talent that we haven't seen and untapped potential that he hasn't, quite unlocked on the field yet. But I was going through it in my mind, why would the coaching staff add a running back right now? And honestly, the number one thought I had was maybe they're unsatisfied with the pass protection that they're getting out of those guys. And it would be a very coach thing to do, to be like, if none of y'all can do it, I'll go out and find someone who can.
Max.
And you bring someone in and at the very least, give an example to the other guys.
For sure.
Of this is how it's done. This is how I want you guys to be in pass protection. And so it's so funny that you say that about the PFF grade, because it's exactly where my mind was going. Is just like, oh, that would be a possibility.
Yeah.
And it's probably the most underrated part of being a running back, most underrated skill that, just hate to say the average fan, but for lack of a better term, the average fan doesn't quite notice or might not pick up on. And maybe when one running back isn't getting as many carries as everyone thinks they might, oftentimes that's the reason as to why they're not seeing the field as much as they want to.
And I think one point to illustrate how important pass protection is from a running back position, last year, one of the plays, I think when you turn on the Colorado highlight tape for just the entire team, one of the first few plays that's going to get played, I think, is that week 1 touchdown throw from Shedeur Sanders to Jimmy Horn Jr. It's probably going to be the first play for Jimmy Horn Jr.'s highlight tape. Of Shedeur's senior season is probably going to be the first play from his highlight tape. That play doesn't go down without Dallin Hayden stepping up in pass protection from the running back spot, putting his face, in somebody else's face mask. A linebacker who was coming from 6-7 yards depth, a full head of steam. Dallin Hayden stood in there and took a punch. He got pushed back a little bit, but again, when somebody's coming at you with that full head of steam, you're gonna take a bit of a hit. But he stood in there and allowed Shedeur just the extra half a second to get that ball off accurately. And like I said, it was one of the most explosive plays of the season. That doesn't happen without Dallin Hayden doing his job in pass protection.
And that's a great play to bring up, because pass protection from a running back is all about willingness.
It is.
Because no one's expecting you to be Jordan Seaton out there.
Facts.
This is not, you're not a blocker by trade, but as long as you're willing to go get your hands dirty and, go face mask to face mask with someone, you're going to buy that extra literally 1/10 of a second that Shedeur needed to be able to complete that throw. If Dallin Hayden is there a little later or, goes in with a little less vigor.
For sure.
Shedeur's hand is hitting a helmet. Maybe it's a fumble, pick, deflected ball, anything.
And that was a game that, looking back on it, you needed that touchdown. You needed that play, because that ended up being a close game. And if you don't get that early, who knows what ends up happening. But I'll never forget that moment, that play from Dallin Hayden.
He does have one really good highlight when he was on Mississippi State a few years ago. But, yeah, he limited work, obviously. He could be a change of pace type back even. If you're going to add in this pass protector, that's really like his calling card, right? Like, third down, can you be an outlet out of the backfield for me? Can you pick up 10 yards when you have an open lane? Can you give us a first down when you're open in the flat? He adds that to his repertoire and becomes reliable in that category. He's going to find a pretty key role on this team, especially as, we try and figure out, or the coaching staff try and figure out, what's going to happen at quarterback, especially if you have Julian in there, you have a young guy in there, you need a reliable pass protector at running back. So, we'll see how it all works out. The running back room now, Dallin Hayden, Michael Welsh, DeKalen Taylor, Charlie Offerdahl, and now Simeon Price. Am I forgetting anyone?
Titus Bautista.
And Christian
Sarum. But also, come on. We've talked so much about this. Draylon / Cam Michael.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So many weapons on offense.
100%.
And that's one place where Pat Yormark cannot complain.
No doubt. And I think maybe the biggest reason that I'm not going to just discount this late commitment from Simeon Price is something that I brought up with DeKalen Taylor. There are only 2 running backs on this roster who Marshall Faulk had a hand in bringing to Boulder, Colorado. That's DeKalen Taylor, and that's now Simeon Price. Marshall Faulk was involved in watching their film at their previous stops and probably saying to the recruiting staff, I like this kid. I see something here. We can do something here. And that means a lot coming from a Pro Football Hall of Famer, arguably one of the greatest running back of this generation. So that just can't be forgotten.
No doubt, man.
Speaking of running backs, though, quickly.
Yeah, go ahead.
Former Colorado running back announced a new school. Isaiah Gustav is heading to South Carolina, back to the SEC.
Yeah. Good for him.
Shout out to him, yeah.
Good football team.
Man.
They will be good this year, no doubt.
They have some dogs on that team.
For real.
Some serious firepower. If they put it all together, South Carolina is going to be dangerous.
Hell yeah.
Do you know what their running back situation looks like?
South Carolina?
Yeah.
Well, they had Rocket Sanders last year. He was pretty good.
He
gone,
went
undrafted.
Right?
Yeah,
right.
That was crazy. can't think of any big time transfers. Honestly, he was getting touches at Arkansas as a true freshman. I expect him to get some touches at South Carolina.
Absolutely.
We'll get to Scott's transfers in the next segment. We'll do Deacon Schmitt right here, the top-ranked recruit in the state of Colorado. He was on the show a while back. You can go check that out on our YouTube page. I think you interviewed him too, right, for an article?
Yep.
Go check that out. He put out a top 3. Oklahoma, Alabama, Colorado. He is the top-ranked Colorado recruit in this class, 370th overall player, 30th ranked interior offensive lineman, 4-star on the 247 Sports Composite, listed at 6'5", 320, from Windsor, Colorado. He also announced he will be committing at the end of this month. 2 weeks from Saturday, he will be making his decision between Oklahoma, Alabama, and Colorado. I feel good about where Deacon Schmitt stands, but he's a blue chip recruit. He could go anywhere.
Yeah, as evidenced by Alabama being in his top 3.
He also canceled OVs to USC, Tennessee, and Nebraska.
Smart kid.
Very smart.
This would be an exciting one. And this is something I've said about in-state recruiting all along. It's only important if the players are very, very good. And this player is very, very good.
Definitely.
And so Deacon Schmitt would be a huge win for Colorado's recruiting staff, whether he lived in Colorado or Calabasas. It's just about the players. It's not about where they're from. And so, but this one would be fun. This one would be exciting. And it's one that you want to get for sure. Also, our boy Dalvin's got a chill on him.
Yeah, he do.
Dalvin, we love you, brother.
Hey, I love Stevie Davy. I love how, like, in recruiting now, like, that's become, like, a thing to say, like, stuffed or, like, people are now just saying, like, yeah, they just got lockered. Like, that's hilarious to me. But, I mean, yeah, like you mentioned, Jake, we had Deacon on our show just a little around a month ago. So go check that out if you somehow missed that one. But one of the things that has me optimistic about Colorado landing Schmitt, like you said, Jake, is just what he talked about in terms of, obviously he's a Colorado kid. He grew up watching Colorado football.
Yeah.
And he has seen it all, you know, from the gamuts of hell to where the program is currently at, and let him tell it. That means a lot to him. He told us a story about how he said, you know, he went with his friend's dad to a game once, and the tickets were, you know, cheap as hell, and there was nobody at Folsom, and the game was over pretty much by halftime. And just the difference from his perspective, watching Colorado these past 2 years, and particularly in 2024, every game on national TV, obviously winning 9 games, getting to a bowl game, that meant a lot to him. He goes, it's a completely different place, and they're going to be competing in the college football playoff, playing for a national championship. The transformation is crazy, and it's pretty awesome to me as a kid from Colorado to see that they were 1-11 before Coach Prime came, and now they're going to be college football playoff contenders. So, you know, some people might look at his final 3, obviously being Alabama and Oklahoma, and be like, Colorado doesn't belong. But to Deacon Schmitt, Colorado belongs in those that grouping with, you know, college football contenders, obviously, for sure. Oklahoma and Alabama being a very popular pick to make the playoffs. So I feel really good about where Deacon Schmitt is at with his recruitment in regards to Colorado, and we'll see here in a couple weeks, right? Just a couple weeks.
Yeah, 2 weeks from Saturday. He took an OV to Colorado on May 2nd. He was on the show the week after that, talking about that. I think, if I remember correctly, he told us Colorado's recruiting him as a center. Was that him that said that, or was that Breck that said that?
I think that was Breck.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah, I think that was Breck.
But yeah, would be a massive get for the Buffs, and would start to be what we've talked about quite a bit this week, right? Yeah. You know, what does Colorado need to do to become a real player in the revenue sharing era? Yesterday with the future power rankings and all that stuff. Yeah. You got to stack the trenches. This would obviously be a great step in the 2026 class. I'd imagine this is a big focus for this class and the next class for sure. But, yeah, you get him, you're off to a nice start. And if you get Brett Collegier too, you're really setting yourself up, at least on the interior of the offensive line, for the now and the future.
And there's some internal support. Chauncey Goodencourt retweeted that post and goes, "Come home, family," with the Buffs emoji. Alexander McPherson also replied to that post with 4 Buff emojis. So there's some relationships that have been formed there. And obviously, talking about relationships, Deacon also told us just how much he felt connected to the trio of offensive line coaches for Colorado, right? He told us about how they went axe throwing. And, you know, it was him and it was Gunner versus Big Dre and Hegeman, and they were going at it, and they got to run it back for a game 7. They were tied after 6 games or so.
They got to run it back.
So that is, you know, you can just listening to Deacon, you can tell that this place, Boulder, Colorado, means something to him, and this program means something to him.
I gotta see Big George throw an axe. For real.
Oh my God!
That really sounds like the scariest thing I can imagine.
Just splitting the target, probably.
Just right through the wall. Also, shout out to Windsor, Colorado. Probably 2 of like the 10 best golf courses in the state up there.
Okay, shout out Windsor. But we'll see what Deacon decides. This is obviously a big one. I mean, we've got a handful of big ones coming up. Isn't KJ Edwards at the end of July as well? Sedarian's, I think
he's July 2nd. Shedeur July 2nd. I think KJ's early August, like August 2nd.
Okay, that's right. But still, the next 2 months are we're really going to find out how much of an impression Colorado has made on these 2026 recruits and start to hopefully get an idea of what this class can look like. Maybe one of the bigger recruiting classes, maybe the biggest one since the first one.
For sure.
Under Coach Prime. All right, let's take our first break. They are on one. Let's take our first break. Shout out to our friends over at Bet365. Interestingly enough, I don't know if this is still the case. I saw last night. So the Pacers go up 2-1, right?
Uh-huh.
And OKC is still like minus 300 to win the series.
No way.
I don't know if it's shifted since, but after the game last night, that's what it was.
I still think OKC's going to win the series.
Well, you can test your luck and your ball knowledge over at Bet365. And right now, they have an NBA Finals promo going on. Basically, you have a chance to win up to $100,000 in bonus bets with the first play fortune. What you need to do is place a 3-leg same-game parlay where the 3 legs are player to score the first basket, player to get the first assist, and the first rebound. I mean, that's already going to be a juicy SGP, but if that hits, you are now in the running to get $100,000 in bonus bets from our friends over at Bet365. Log in to place your bet or sign up. Use the code DNVR365, deposit $10, and place your 3-leg SGP bet for $1 minimum. Whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. You must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. In-app only. Opt-in required.
Also, shout out to our friends over at Toyota. You guys know I love my RAV4, but trucks have always been a part of Toyota's DNA. For generations, Toyota has built durable legends destined for greatness and perfect for Colorado. Whether you're conquering off-road trails or hauling the weight of the world, there's a Toyota truck that's just right for you, like the all-new 2024 Tacoma. From the return of the iconic 2024 Land Cruiser, Toyota offers 17 models with available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive like the Epic 4Runner. Toyota also currently offers more low and zero-emission vehicles combined than any other automaker, which is pretty awesome. So if you're looking for a new truck or you're looking for a new car at all, go visit a Front Range Toyota store at a location near you. AutoNation Arapahoe Toyota and Centennial, Corwin Toyota and Boulder, Groove Toyota and Littleton, Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East in Aurora, and Stevenson Toyota West in Lakewood. Toyota is an official partner of the Colorado Buffaloes and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
All right. Scotty, you went and cooked something up.
Show did. I feel like, with summer workouts underway, it's a good time to look back on really what has been added through the transfer portal this offseason.
They're close to done.
I would think so, right? And that was also, kind of the thinking behind the timing. Maybe 1 or 2 more trickles in after Simeon Price year recently. But
so the Buffs are at 78 scholarship commitments for 2025.
Yeah,
they have a little bit of room if they want to add.
Got you. Ranked all the offseason transfers from Colorado, the additions 1 through 32 this offseason. 33 would be Simeon Price, who I'll add after the show. But we can just go into it. Before we go into it, make sure you go check this out on thednvr.com. Make sure you become a diehard if you haven't already.
I love that comment that you retweeted today.
Fire, right?
Someone sent to you. It was something along the lines of like, the daily live show is amazing, but the real value of the DNVR diehard subscription is the written stuff.
Hell yeah.
And also getting in the Discord.
Definitely.
You're going to want to get in the Discord soon because I think we're going to have fans who are signed up and in the Discord calling into the show in the near future.
Baby. Let's go.
So get in that Discord. Make sure you become a diehard. But let's get into this. We're not going to unveil all 32 because we want you to go check that on the diehard. But right here today, we're going to unveil this top 10. I think we got a graphic of the top 10. This is a really deep group, a versatile group, balanced group. I'm curious your guys' thoughts. We can talk about the top 10. We can talk about guys who maybe should have been in this top 10.
Fire graphic.
Shout out to Yaya on multiple. But yeah, this is I'm open to thoughts, obviously. We got obviously Caden at the top. No returning player in FBS has more total touchdowns over the last 2 seasons than Caden Salter. We got 2 offensive linemen in the top 4, Zach Crisler and Xavier Hill. Jaheim Otis, the top-ranked defensive transfer. Tawfiq Byard in the top 5. Couple of receivers, Sincere Brown and Joseph Williams in the top 8. Tight end 1, Zach Atkins at 7. Track Hulk, the only running back in the top 10. And then Tavian Coleman could be potentially a point of contention, but the second defensive lineman here in this top 10. What are y'all thoughts? Talk to me.
My first thought was, how did you kind of weigh the fact that...
what's the criteria?
So the criteria pretty much is past production plus future projection. So what you've done in the past at your previous stops and what I think you'll be doing production-wise this season here in 2025 for the Colorado Buffaloes.
So I know obviously that you think and expect Caden to be the starter.
Yeah.
But did you factor in at all the fact that he's in a quarterback battle?
No.
Okay.
No. I'm just looking at the player itself, right?
Yep.
I'm not really looking at any external kind of factors like that. I'm just looking at the player, the talent. Dude is super talented. I think just off straight talent, if this was like a Madden rating or, CAB rating, I think among those guys, all the transfers they brought in, he would probably have the highest overall, if that makes sense.
Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with having Caden at the top. Again, if he went to Oklahoma State, if he goes to, Maryland, I don't know if they have quarterbacks or not, but they're talking about those teams as being like sleeper teams because of what Caden Salter is. I mean, you get a G5 National Player of the Year and you move up a level, everyone's like going, oh, watch out for this kid. I mean, look at what Cam Ward did, coming up from Incarnate Ward all the way from Wazoo to now Miami. If you have past production, that tends to translate more often than not, especially at the quarterback position.
And a lot of production, bro.
Yeah, and here's this word again, dynamic as Caden Salter.
Yeah.
Over the last 2 seasons, over 6,000 total yards and 66 total touchdowns across 2 seasons.
For sure. I mean, I'm totally on board with it.
Yeah.
It's just, it's such a crazy part about this whole thing to me is like, I think that I've mentioned this before, but I think that people are undervaluing Colorado's quarterback room because of the quarterback battle.
Yeah.
Yep.
But Colorado's number 1 best transfer acquisition, according to my most trusted source, Scotty Deep Pockets, and Colorado's number 1 high school edition, are both quarterbacks.
That's a great place to be.
It's exactly where you want your best player to be.
Exactly.
And so it's just such an interesting thing how nationally they just don't know what to do with Colorado's quarterbacks because they don't know who's going to start.
Yeah.
But either one is a great option. My other question is, can you give us 11 and 12, just so I can see if I disagree with 10?
So sure. 10's Tavian Coleman.
Yeah, 10 is Tavian Coleman. At 11, I had Larry Johnson III, the transfer offensive tackle from Tennessee. And at 12, I had Teion Parks, the transfer cornerback from Illinois State.
You could argue Larry Johnson if you want, but
or Teion Parks, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd value that personally. I'd go trenches over the secondary.
Yeah. Was there anybody, just back to Caden, was there anybody who you thought could have been live for the top spot here? Anybody besides Caden?
Yeah, I think any of the top 3.
Okay.
Yep.
And maybe even Tawfiq Byard. I might have had Tawfiq Byard a little higher.
I mean, if we're going in terms of true production, though, Sincere Brown, we could look back at the end of the year and go, he was the best transfer this offseason.
Did you see that video of him doing the
box jumps?
Box jumps?
Yeah, bro.
Boy. You should not be 6'5".
And then he's like I'm this tall.
Right.
Yeah.
Imagine where I'll be when I jump up there.
Man. Yeah, I mean, you're right, though. I mean, I love both of those receivers, Sincere Brown and Joseph Williams. Two guys that really two different points of their college football career.
Yep.
You know, Sincere Brown's been playing football college for the last 4 or 5 years. This is his last year of eligibility. Joseph Williams has 1 year of college football under his belt. But I'm really excited about both guys. I'm expecting both guys to be really productive this year. Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing, too, though, is having 2 offensive linemen in that top 4, which I think is very appropriately rated. Like Zy Crisler and Xavier Hill are going to change the identity of this offense, along with Zach Atkins, who is also in that top 10. Those 3 guys in particular, I think are just going to bring a different edge, different level of physicality to this offense that's really been missing the last couple of years.
Some clamoring in the chat about Reggie Hughes and Martavius French.
Yeah.
You don't have to reveal where they fell on the list, but
Yeah, but go become a diehard to read the full list.
yeah,
sure.
exactly.
For sure.
But did they have consideration for you above any of these players in the top 10?
Not really above these players, but they're not too far out of the top 10 at all. I'll tell y'all that much.
DeKalen Taylor's another one who could prove to be way higher on this list when you look back at the end of the year. I mean, you keep saying it. He's the one.
Yeah.
Now at this point, second running back that Marshall Faulk's had a hand in bringing to Boulder, but man, whoever the running back is that takes this opportunity with both hands and runs with it at Colorado is going to be a national star. Yeah,
for
you're
real.
going to be talked about. The one who saved Colorado's
Yes.
run game.
Yes.
The one who saved the worst rushing attack the last 2 years. The one who actually like rounded out Colorado's offense. Like that's a big spot, and you're going to get a lot of attention if you're that dude.
And not to mention, you gonna have Pro Football Hall of Famer Marshall Faulk singing your praises week in and
Exactly.
week out
Yes.
if you're handling your business on Saturdays. And that might mean more than anything in terms of your potential future in the NFL. So, yeah, DeKalen Taylor was firmly in my top 10, although he was only at 9. Tavian Coleman, obviously, was somebody who I kind of went back and forth a little bit about, but bro has started every game the last 2 years at Texas State, which is a very, I think, slept on, kind of underrated program. They were pretty solid last year. 13 tackles for loss over the last 2 years. So pretty much that's one every other game. He's getting at least 1 tackle for loss. 6 sacks across that span. He was productive back in 2022 at Utah State as well. So, and I just can't also get that picture of during the spring game in April, Tavian Coleman made a play and Sapp was just damn near met him on the field to congratulate him and like give him love. So clearly, I think Coach Sapp likes what he sees in Tavian Coleman, and so do I.
We haven't mentioned him, but Tawfiq Bayard too.
Yeah, man.
I mean, we all saw Cam on the field the last 2 years.
Right.
Yeah.
You get that back and another player who is physically more gifted than Cameron Soman Craig. Yeah, you're cooking.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
bro. He was USF's South Florida's highest graded safety last year. And he was arguably the most impressive player during the spring game in April. I mean, he was all over the field, in the backfield, making plays in the pass game and the run game as well. And then getting the stamp from the Shark, that's good business right there.
Facts.
No doubt, man.
That's good business. But yeah, go check out the rest of the top. And somebody mentioned, 11 through 25. Some dogs. There's some dudes who are going to be productive.
Yeah.
I would say again, they've added 33 guys from the transfer portal. I would really say about, man, I don't even know.
You don't
Like 23 to 26 of these guys are like could be real contributors.
You don't have to tell me where you put him, but where is like the area of Buck Buchanan?
I'll tell you because I got him smack dab at 15.
Hell yeah.
Which is like pretty high. You know what I'm saying? Like that's pretty high.
For a kicker, absolutely, bro.
Bro, 91% of his kickoffs last year went for a touchback. That's an incredible number. That's an incredible number, especially when you look at the number for Colorado's, touchback conversion rate, which
If
wasn't that high.
If you've got seats in like the front row of what I believe they call the touchdown club down there, you better look alive on kickoff.
Yeah, you better hope they're putting that net up.
Yeah.
No, for real. But yeah, go check out if you want to see where Hakeem Williams falls on my list. Guys like Noah King.
I mean, there's
Cooper
a lot,
Lovelace, Tyreekis Davis. Here's the one for you that I just came across. The 2022 season, do y'all know who was the youngest player to actually play games in the FBS at 17 years old, 2022? He's a current Colorado Buffalo. He was the youngest player in the FBS during the 2022 season.
I got no idea.
Gavril Lightfoot.
Wow.
One of the most productive defensive tackles in the Mountain West over the last 3 years. 66 total tackles during that span.
So he's
6
a
tackles for loss.
21-year-old senior?
Young fellow.
Damn.
And he was the first true freshman to start on the interior of the defensive line at Fresno State since 97. So, over 20 plus years. True freshman starting on the interior of the defensive line.
Wow.
Don't sleep on Gavril Lightfoot either.
It's a real Juju Lewis of the defensive line.
For real.
I mean, shoot, you didn't even have Zarian McGill, Colorado starting center in the top 10. Like, it's a deep group.
It really is, dude. It really is.
Good stuff, man.
Appreciate y'all.
Go
Check
become a
that out.
diehard.
Hell yeah.
Check it out. Let's take our next break.
Shout out to the squad over at Empire today, man. I'm telling y'all need a home floor advantage at your home, the same way your favorite team has a home court advantage, a home ice advantage, whatever it is. And Empire Today is the place for you to do that, because Empire Today has flooring experts, people who are dedicated flooring professionals who focus on flooring every single day, not just some days, every single day. Empire Today lives and breathes flooring, and they will be with you every step of the way on your journey, because it's a whole different ballgame. Their flooring experts bring the showroom right to your home. You can pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space to see how it looks with your furniture in your house. That's what we talk about when we're talking about convenience. You can get precise measurements taken and have all your questions answered, so there are zero surprises. So schedule a free in-home estimate today, because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using promo code DNVR. Yes, you heard that right. A $350 discount with code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday/DNVR for full details.
And also shout out to our friends over at FanStake, a new app that allows you, the fans, to directly invest in the success of the Colorado Buffaloes. Who we staking today?
Juju Lewis.
Shout out to Julian Lewis. Go stake Julian Lewis over on FanStake and sign up with the code DNVR when you're there. Basically what this app is, you sign up with that code DNVR, you'll get $25 in free credit. You can put that on whoever is on the roster, because the portal time is kind of, passed us by. Get in on this now, because when the portal does open up after the season, you can stake available players in the portal, basically to try and recruit them to the Buffs. Best part about it, though, if the player you stake does not commit to the team of your choosing, that money goes right back into your account and you can use it on another player. So right now, FanStake is currently offering new fans a free $25 credit, no credit card required or strings attached. We're encouraging everyone to join us in staking Julian Lewis, the future of the football team, really, of the program. Click the link in our description, scan the QR code, or just head to fanstake.com and use promo code DNVR to help keep Juju with the Buffs.
Dave Rich makes a good point there, and it's completely true. I feel like that's something that we just haven't talked about enough when it comes to Tawfiq Bayard, the fact that his older brother is literally an all-pro safety.
Yep.
And Tawfiq plays the same position. He's been getting free game from his big bro for years. And Kevin Byard is, again, a multiple-time all-pro. I still think one of the best safeties in the league. And I'm not just saying that because he's on my Chicago Bears. But if there was anybody else on this team with an older brother, who is still in the league, one of the best of his position, I feel like we'd be talking about that a lot.
No doubt.
So love that for Tawfiq in the Byard family.
Have you guys put a lot of thought into the fact that, like, come play one against Georgia Tech, like, we're going to be almost completely blind as to what, like, these quarterbacks look like with these wide receivers?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
It's so weird. I mean, obviously we had that same experience two years ago with Shedeur.
Yeah.
But that was just such a different situation.
Yep.
Like, it was us against the world type of thing. Like, no one believed in us in that game.
Yep.
Things have changed quite a bit. But, like, I don't know. I just keep thinking about the fact that it's just going to be like a whole new experience. Obviously, we'll get a lot of well-off and stuff during fall camp. But
hopefully we get an open practice again, too.
Yeah.
We can only hope. All right, well, Sheppard, day 3 of Broncos minicamp today, wrapping up their off-season program, right?
Yeah.
Final day. And he was out there. We got another clip from Broncos minicamp.
Half the team's probably already in Cabo.
Yeah, I thought you said that Sean likes to give this day off usually.
He does, but then he completely changed his mind yesterday.
Shout out to him.
He said, we don't do sugar days around here. Tomorrow's a salt day.
I love it, man. QB1, Bo Nix. Throwing to Will Sheppard right there. I know it's just a warm up and all that.
A little out route.
I don't know, maybe a sign of something to come.
Hey, that boy Will just looks like he belongs, man.
He does.
And I'm sure y'all talked about it on the show yesterday, but just having the guy like Cortland Sutton to learn from, to pick his brain, I feel like that is just going to be so important for Will Sheppard's development, however long he ends up being there in Denver with the Broncos. I don't know if y'all mentioned this before yesterday, but I tweeted as well. Jason Phillips, obviously Colorado's receivers coach currently, was SMU's co-offensive coordinator for Cortland Sutton's freshman year back in 2014. So there's a connection there. And y'all know who also was on that 2014 SMU team?
Deion Sanders Jr.
Bucky. So a lot of connections there, which is kind of cool.
Colbert too.
Yep.
Probably, yeah. A lot of connections there. Small world.
You should watch just a 2014 SMU game.
Facts.
But shout out to Will.
Hell yeah.
Again, no announcement.
I will say really quick, looking like you belong is a part of the battle.
It
is, bro.
I've seen 1,000 Broncos practices in my day, and I've seen a few CU players show up on undrafted contracts or whatever. And there's been times where they don't look like they belong, and then they're not there very long. Right. And it's like you see them get in the line with all the other wide receivers, and you're like, oh no, that doesn't look right.
Like if you look at that picture of Will and Cortland Sutton together next to each other, and you just show this to a non-football fan and be like, who's the NFL pro, the 5-year, whatever,
Pro
7-year
Bowler,
vet?
He's wearing,
be able to know.
He's wearing 87.
Yeah.
He's not wearing 19.
Yeah, bro.
19 can work too.
87's a pretty
Speaking
good.
of 19, how about that Debo video that came out?
Man. And honestly, though, when I was watching that, in the reaction, I'm like, gee, this is why teams don't be wanting media and they fucking practice.
Yeah, that's
that was literally my first thought.
So
you know what I'm
true.
saying? And it's like, obviously it's a double-edged sword, but it's like, I get it when, there are certain teams and coaches who are like, I just don't want the media in my stuff.
Sean Payton.
Yeah. Because it's stuff like that. But
that's been his game his entire NFL career. Just being
Debo?
a big wide receiver.
No, bro.
No,
he looked a little different.
Game,
All right.
He looked a little different, bro.
It looked like you had like Zion Williamson before he got into game shape out there running routes.
And they say that food out there in DC too fire, bro. I can see it. I can see it. But no, I mean, just back to Will real quickly. Like, again, we don't know what's gonna happen in terms of him making the team and whatnot. But if there's a position on that Broncos roster where there's room for players and talent to be added, I would say it's the receivers room. Wouldn't you agree, Jake?
I agree.
So
some people in this building don't, though.
It's true. I know.
Yeah, well, those people talk to different people than we talk to.
They do, for sure. I get it, but
no, I love to see that. I don't will. LeJontay Wester yesterday mic'd up by the Ravens.
Hell yeah.
Love to see that as well.
That was cool watching Harbaugh coach him up.
Yeah.
On the punt returns.
Yeah.
Yep, we got the picture of all of the Buffs in Jacksonville today. Cam, Trav, and BJ.
Yeah, it was dope.
Yep.
I hope those guys are together longer.
Same.
I mean, Cam and BJ signed like a 3-year undrafted deal, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
All right. Commissioner Yormark went further in depth speaking about the college football playoff and revenue sharing. The college football playoff one's really the most interesting one. He already kind of said that he didn't like the 4 plus 4 plus 2 plus 2 plus half plus whatever the hell they were. SEC and Big Ten were proposing.
We're on the 5+11 team, right?
We are on 5+11 team. That's what Brett Yormark is on. I think
Jake's not on that team, but
no, I am.
You're really flip-flopping on it.
5+11, yeah.
The last time we talked about this, you said you weren't on it.
Well, I said Joel Klatt's 2.5 idea was intriguing. Okay. I don't know if it's.
What was that again?
Basically, he was saying that it would be 2.5 for each the ACC and the Big 12 combo of 5. Basically, some years the ACC gets 3, some years the Big 12 gets 3.
So basically, the ACC and the Big 12 just split 5, though.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what he was saying, which I don't know. I just don't think that
you were anti-committee, which is why you were
Anti-committee for
anti 5+11, because that's 11 teams in the hands of the committee.
Yes.
I understand.
I'd rather have it be in the hands of the committee than teams that get second place getting rewarded for it.
Sure. I don't know. I do trust the committee. It's just they've had some shaky moments. They could have really screwed it up this last year.
I was going to say, I thought they did all right.
I'm glad they did
relatively this past year.
But, yeah.
They got it right this last year.
They did. Yes, they did.
And the year they left FSU out. They got that right, too.
They did. Yes, they did. No, come on. Listen to the show. Commissioner Yormark says, I didn't like it. Obviously, that model has been out there for almost a year, speaking about the Big 12 or Big 10 and SEC trying to get 4 each. I didn't like it because it felt like it created a huge divide between us and those two conferences. Now, as you guys know, I have good self-awareness. I know where we reside in the world of college football. But I just felt like it put a line in the sand that didn't need to be there. I'm a firm believer in that if you create value, you should be rewarded. Earn it on the field. Every year is a new year. By the way, with settlement, in theory, it should be creating a level playing field across the board. So I didn't like it, and it was somewhat foreign to me. He also said, I was pretty outspoken during our spring meetings that a 5+11 format was certainly something I liked. I like 16 because more access is good. There's a point where access starts equating access to dilution. But I don't think at 16 you're diluting anything. I think it's a good number to work with. Obviously, the 5 AQs is what we have now, effectively. The 5 highest rated conference champs. So I felt comfortable with that format versus every year knowing what someone already has before you even play the season. I felt it was in the best interest of those two conferences, the SEC and the Big Ten only, and not in the best interest of the fans of college football. So I was outspoken about it.
That boy was just preaching.
Yep.
Sheesh. Couple things stood out where he was like, every year's a new year. Like, we shouldn't be looking at
that is it.
You know,
100%.
past stuff and giving the SEC or even the Big Ten bias because they were good in the past or have been good. That doesn't really mean much of anything in terms of 2025 and beyond.
Yes.
And we mentioned as well, with this new settlement, the idea is that things are going to get more equal. So the past biases should really be thrown out of the window as we continue to move forward here. So, man, honestly, every time I hear quotes from
He knows
Papa
ball, bro.
Your Bucks and or just hear him speak, I'm like, dude, just really, you can just tell why him and Coach Prime vibe with each other. I'll say that.
Yep.
You can tell why they rock with each other.
Yeah, I'll just underscore the point about every year is a new year.
Yeah.
We're witnessing Texas Tech basically dumping money into the arms race to the top of the Big 12.
Facts.
No one has any sort of claim staked on the top of the Big 12 right now. You know, the two teams that had it forever left, and now it's open. What's to say that Texas Tech can't become a powerhouse? What's to say that Colorado can't become a powerhouse? Now you're right where all the other conferences are. 2 powerhouses at the top, and other teams, you know, an Arizona State could pop up again. And so, like, there's no reason to put parameters that just don't need to be put there.
Yes. 100%.
Facts.
So, yeah, Commissioner Yormark is locked in on 5+11. I think that's kind of where we're trending as of right now. The SEC and Commissioner Sankey are going to do whatever the hell they're going to do. They're going to say whatever they're going to say. I think that what Commissioner Yormark said, though, in terms of the competitive balance, is really going to be the point that's driven home on this. At least I hope. So we'll see. He also spoke about revenue sharing and how Big 12 teams can use that money. Basically said, do whatever you want. We're going to let our schools determine how they want to share revenue. It's going to be a school-by-school decision. Many schools have been very public already about how they're going to distribute it. One of the models out there, not to say it's right or wrong, is 75, 15, 5, and 5. 75 to football, 15 to men's basketball, 5 to women's basketball, and 5 to other Olympic sports. But yeah, they're going to be.
I think that's my first time hearing a breakdown like that.
Yeah,
I think that makes sense, though.
He says as part of the settlement, there's a 4% increase every year. And then I want to say it's every 3 years we can go through a reset based on the average amount of revenue that is being brought into the system by the defending conferences. And it's 22.5% of revenue, and that gets recalculated every 3 years, but it is a 4% a year.
Do y'all think there will be a team in the Big 12 based on, you know, what he was saying, or like he's going to leave it up to the schools, so how they want to dish out revenue or whatever? Do Do you think there would be a program where like, 90% of our stuff is going to football, 5% to men's basketball, 5% to women's?
100%. And I don't know if you guys saw this yesterday, but like there's a women's group of athletes who are beginning to, again, another lawsuit.
It's going to be a thing.
Because this is now encroaching on Title IX.
It is.
That was my first thought all the way back the first time this was ever brought up is, so every school or every sport's going to have to get the same amount of money, right? Because of Title IX.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in theory, yeah. And that's why they're pissed. They're obviously saying, like, we should get more money.
Yeah, this is going to be, I mean, it's hard to disagree with what Rick George's model was, which he just said, like, the percentage will get split up based on the percentage of revenue brought in.
Right.
Yep.
That seems completely fair.
For sure.
If we were, like, selling T-shirts or whatever, and we had 100 and I sold 75 of them, like, I should get 75% of the profit.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, there's I'm just opening this, but basically there's another law firm that has a mix of track, soccer, and volleyball athletes. They're of course claiming that the House settlement is in violation of Title IX. They are trying to appeal the Title IX ruling. This is not over.
It never will be.
No. Seems like we make a little progress, and then
we need a legal expert.
Wait, let's get a lawyer on.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We need to have our recurring guest lawyer that we can call up anytime, not on retainer, so we don't have to pay him.
Yes.
Like somebody who specializes in NIL and stuff.
Just that would be great.
Anything,
but just someone who specializes in reading legal documents and telling us what they mean.
I think I might got somebody.
All right,
let's do it. Last thing I have, CBS Sports put out college football's top wide receiver rooms.
Yeah, I'm interested to hear this because I didn't see this.
Number 1 is Ohio State. No surprise, right? I mean, Carnell Tate is in contention to be a first rounder, and Jeremiah Smith is probably the best player in football.
Carnell Tate from Chicago.
Is he?
Shout out to City.
Clemson is next. Antonio Williams is a big name you're going to hear about. Brian Wesco Jr. is also another one that you will be hearing about this season.
Cold.
Clemson's going to be a very good team this year.
Hell yeah.
Number 3 is Alabama. Ryan Williams, freshman phenom. Another young player, but it's Alabama. They stack athletes at that position.
Yep.
Number 4 is Auburn. Cam Coleman was a 5-star player 2 years ago in recruiting. He started to kind of live up to that. Eric Singleton Jr. transferred in. He was the one from Georgia Tech who transferred to Auburn. He was one of the best receivers in the ACC last season. Now he moves on to the SEC. Number 5, LSU. They get Nick Anderson, who was Oklahoma star receiver last year.
Oh, yeah, wow. I didn't know he was there.
They have a few guys, Aaron Anderson, who had 800 yards, 5 touchdowns last year, and a few others. That's the list. Honorable mentions.
They just did the top 5.
They just did a top 5. Honorable mentions, though. Oregon. They got Evan Stewart.
Who's not going to play for a good portion of the season.
That's true, yep. DeCorian Moore is a 5-star freshman coming in.
Yeah, he's cold.
Georgia. They got Zachariah Branch. Oscar Delp they threw the tight ends in there. Oscar Delp's a tight end you're going to hear about in the draft. They got Texas in there. Ryan Wingo had a good freshman year. They got the AB, too.
Mm-hmm.
Ole Miss.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame. Who they got?
Malachi Fields, Jaden Greathouse, and Jordan Faison. Jordan Faison had a good playoff.
Yeah, and Greathouse.
Greathouse is, I think, young. He's from Cali. I remember him as a recruit.
End of article.
End of article.
They missed a team.
They did, but it's a very unproven team.
Yeah.
Is it, though?
Yes.
Sincere Brown has the most production, and he did it at Campbell.
Well,
I mean,
I should
that's
say
what people would say.
unproven room.
They named a 5-star true freshman for Oregon.
We know this part. But you didn't expect Colorado to be in there, did you?
I thought they could have at least gotten an honorable mention for sure.
No way.
Yeah.
Again, Colorado gets no benefit of the doubt.
Facts.
Well, I know that.
Draylen Miller, like, nice freshman season. For us, it's like building block to superstardom. For them, it's like,
We'll see.
the numbers don't pop off the board.
Right.
Sincere Brown, super productive. at Campbell. To them, it's, well, let's see him do it at this level. Omarion Miller damn near averages 200 yards every time he gets, or no, what is he? Average 190 yards every time he gets 10 targets.
Yeah.
Something like that. To them, they just see the numbers on the paper, which is 400 yards in the last 2 years-ish. So we're not going to ever get any sort of benefit of the doubt from the national media. But come week 1, those guys go out there and ball and, start head tapping guys, then the world will wake up very quickly, as they did during the TCU game.
I just think the team that had the most wide receivers drafted in last year's draft and has a room stacked of talent could have at least deserved a mention.
I bet you that if you called up the person who wrote that article and asked what school had the most wide receivers drafted in last year's draft, you give him 10 guesses, he wouldn't get it right.
I mean, probably.
To underscore your point, though, RK, Phil Steele, his preseason rankings for the receivers, where do you think he has Colorado nationally?
13th.
46, bro. Which would be 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 9th in the Big 12. Behind Cincinnati.
That's just wrong.
It is wrong. Behind Cincinnati and Houston.
Come on, bro.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just... We're back, bro.
We are back.
We're back.
But this is the one room that's only room that's ever gotten credit on this team is the wide receiver room.
Yeah, but the guys that got credit aren't here anymore.
Right.
So we got to get credit all over again.
I will say, though, on Phil Steele's... I meant to bring this up last time I was on. Offensive line's kind of getting some respect.
The Buffs?
Yeah.
What'd they say? What'd Phil Steele say?
He's got him 38th best in college football. Best offensive line. Which would be 6th in the Big 12. But
So then does he have the quarterback rankings?
I think he did quarterbacks. Yeah. Where do you think for Colorado?
Like 14th.
In the country?
Oh, I thought in the Big 12.
I mean, it's close to it. In the country, he's got him 66th. In the Big 12, that's 14th.
Yeah.
Quarterback.
This is crazy.
Behind Houston and Kansas and Cincinnati. It's crazy.
Did Cincinnati bring their quarterback back?
Yeah, Sorsby's back.
Sorsby's back, yeah.
Remember when they were saying he was better than Shedeur?
Oh, yeah. See, Cincinnati Barstool had a rough week.
Oh, yeah. Facts, dude. Oh, man.
All right, let's go to
Remember
the
they were
chat.
saying Jeff Sims was better than Shedeur?
Yeah. And I remember I won a lot of money on that game.
Yeah.
Bro, I saw a podcast clip recently where they ranked Arizona State as like the top 3 quarterback group in college football.
That's what I'm saying.
And
bro.
part of their reasoning was that Jeff Sims, experienced backup, he's played a lot of football. I'm like, bro, what are we actually doing here?
Experience at putting that rock on the turf.
And in the hands of opponents.
Yeah.
Travis asked, okay, here's an unfair question. Who's our next Travis Hunter?
I got the answer, y'all.
CJ Sadler?
No. Travis Hunter.
So 2 years away.
Yes. You might have to wait a little bit.
There is no next Travis Hunter.
Yeah, that's
No,
the actual
for
real
sure.
answer.
But yeah, CJ Sadler's projected to be a 2-way player.
I can see that.
Arvada Luke says, fellas, I'm about to kick it.
Arvada.
Sure. I'm about to kick it with my in-laws. Huge SEC/ACC folks. They don't know squat about Shedeur. What is a fair bet to make with them regarding this year's NFL season in Shedeur?
Make them take a bet that Shedeur will start at least 6 games.
See, I was going to say, if they're haters or
Yeah.
not in the know and all they know is that he's a 5th-round pick, I would just bet that he starts a game
Yeah.
for the Browns. Like, set your bar super low.
Yeah, if they silly enough to take that one, definitely lock
And then
that
work
in.
your way up. If it goes to
Back.
6,
Yeah.
it goes to 6.
For sure.
Room Changer says, do y'all think if the Browns knew they were getting Shedeur in the 5th, they would have selected Travis with the 2nd pick? That would be like getting 2 top 5 picks. One, they should have done that, and they didn't because this is what was going to happen because the NFL blackballed Shedeur Sanders. They knew that. And 2, the Browns are the Browns. They don't do smart things.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. They should have known.
Yeah, it's an interesting question because if we're subscribing to the thought process of like this was like a blackballing by the NFL and its owners, then theoretically the Browns would have known,
of course,
that he was going to be available in the 5th round.
Of course, they knew.
It was like a 4-round hold.
That's kind of what I think, and I don't know if you were on the show when we talk about this specific part of it, but that is kind of what I think happened, bro. Because like, how does the first team that actually had the chance to select Shedeur, and I'm saying it's the Browns because Cam was going to go number 1 regardless. Mm-hmm. The first team that had the opportunity to select Shedeur ends up being the team that selects Shedeur 4 rounds later.
So you're saying that like we want to take him, you got to wait 4 rounds.
I can just see that as a possibility.
As far as conspiracies go, it's a good start.
You know, it's.
T280 Ivan says, when is the first DNVR Buffs event of the year going to be? Week 1 tailgate. Yes. Right? Unless I'm missing anything.
Unless we do like a season preview type of thing. Maybe if they do the open practice again. Mm-hmm. I think last year it was on a week. Was that on a weekday?
Yeah, it had to have been.
I think it was a Friday.
Friday.
I think it was a Friday.
Yeah.
Because it was on my birthday, and I think my birthday was Friday this past year. Yeah.
It'd be cool if they did it on like a Saturday, and then we did a gathering here.
Yeah, that would be sick.
Before, but we'll let you guys know. Week 1 tailgate is definitely in the mix.
For sure. All right, we got to get out of here. We'll be back tomorrow. Quad Pod, are you here?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get it.
Uncle Neil will be here. We'll see you then. Let's go Buffs.
Let's go Buffs.
We all silly like the mayor.